Today is March 3rd, 2025. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. We've got two stories here taken from lifenews.com, a good pro-life source. Both stories are coming from the East Coast, Connecticut and Delaware, so it's not Michigan, thankfully. But I'm going to be reading, so forgive me if you are distracted by just me reading, but here goes. Connecticut Democrats are attempting to fight back against President Trump's landslide national election and a White House agenda that has already included multiple pro-life initiatives. One of the two bills passed by the Connecticut state legislature last week through an emergency certification process awarded $800,000 in Connecticut taxpayer funding to Planned Parenthood of Southern New England for the purpose of stockpiling abortion-inducing drugs. Tax dollars given directly to Planned Parenthood. The other emergency bill, which provides funding to organizations impacted by the Trump administration's policies, awards yet another $2.8 million to Planned Parenthood, making the abortion vendor the biggest nonprofit beneficiary of the legislation. So another $2.8 million taxpayer dollars went to Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood will use its $800,000 grant from Connecticut taxpayers to stockpile mifepristone, one of the two drugs used to end the lives of unborn babies. Remember, of course, Connecticut is a liberal state, a liberal governor. Both their state house and state senate are overwhelmingly pro-abortion Democrats. So this is not a huge shock legislatively, but it does shock the conscience of pro-lifers or pro-family people from Connecticut who do not want to see their tax dollars go to fund an evil, wicked organization like Planned Parenthood, whose sole business is killing babies. Yeah, they'll tell you that they do mammograms and they do STD testing and they do this and that, which they may do, but the bulk of their income, what they're known for, is killing babies. Okay. Second item, this is coming from the state of Delaware. Pregnancy centers are beacons of light in their communities. They advocate for society's most vulnerable, support pregnant mothers, and provide a variety of resources to new parents. In Delaware, one such center is called A Door of Hope. A Door of Hope is a Christian ministry that empowers men and women to make life-affirming decisions and help mothers facing unplanned pregnancies. The ministry provides both medical and non-medical services, and it advertises these services through print and digital media. But a new Delaware law violates the rights of Door of Hope and other pregnancy centers in multiple ways, both compelling of the content of their speech and violating their religious freedom. Delaware's bill, it's called SB 300, set to take effect this month in March, specifically addresses what it calls crisis pregnancy centers, another term for a pregnancy care center. By definition, these centers are pro-life. There is no such thing as a pro-abortion crisis pregnancy center. It just doesn't exist. And the law is tailored to apply only to pregnancy centers, not to facilities that provide abortions. So here, the bill specifically targets pregnancy care centers. Okay, that's the target. Why was this law deemed important? We don't have to guess. As one of the bill's co-sponsors claimed, SB 300 was necessary because pregnancy care centers discourage women from having abortions. The law stipulates that it only applies to facilities without a licensed medical provider on staff. But the law, now I'm reading still, but the law plays fast and loose with the definition of licensed medical provider. For example, SB 300 includes ultrasound technicians who do not have to be licensed by the state. So the law recognizes an ultrasound technician as a medical provider, but it excludes registered nurses who are required to be licensed. So a pregnancy care center in Delaware that has a registered nurse, they don't qualify as a medical provider, even though they have to be licensed by the state. Under SB 300, pregnancy centers must publish a wordy disclaimer stating that the facility is not medically licensed. That disclaimer must be posted conspicuously in the entrance of the facility. It must also appear in print advertisements and digital advertising materials, which the law does not define. Applied to Door of Hope, the disclaimer isn't even true. Door of Hope does have licensed medical professionals on staff, but because those professionals are registered nurses, they don't count under SB 300. Even if a required statement were accurate, however, it would still be unconstitutional. By compelling pregnancy centers to utter a government-dictated message on pain of government penalty, Delaware's law violates our clients' right of free speech under the First Amendment. Its regulation of speech based on content is likewise unconstitutional. And by applying only to pregnancy centers, SB 300 unconstitutionally discriminates based on viewpoint. What's more, the law forces some pregnancy centers to lie, burdening their free exercise of religion, compelling a Door of Hope to say it has no licensed medical providers, when in fact the center does employ registered nurses that provide and oversee its medical services, forces the center to violate its religious beliefs by sharing a falsehood. Well, I'll stop right there. The other side is clearly targeting and determined to go after pregnancy care centers. You know, they may have lost in Dobbs, but mark my word, and I've mentioned this several times in the past, that Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is hell-bent on basically outlawing pregnancy care centers nationwide. And maybe she's trying to at least do that first step in her home state. But Connecticut and Delaware are not that far from the clutches or the tentacles of Elizabeth Warren and her allies. So we need to be vigilant and be aware of what the other side is trying to do, shutting down free speech and freedom of religion and religious expression by trying to shut down or force these pregnancy care centers to post untruths. A registered nurse is, in fact, a medical professional. And I tell you, the other side, they are so dedicated, they are so committed, they are so invested in killing babies that they will do anything to stop a legitimate pro-life organization like a pregnancy care center to exist, trying to save the lives of unborn babies and, in the process, restore the lives of moms who are, in a crisis situation. They give her hope and love and compassion. With that, I'll let you go. I'll see you next time.